I think the land is the essence of art. So that became a theme for me. Didn't know it would, but that focused everything. Plus I quit rock climbing, so I had to find some other way to experience rocks. I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1937. I grew up in Grand Junction, Colorado. My father's name was Dean. He ended up being a land appraiser. Part of his work was photographing places that he was surveying. So I grew up around cameras and maps. I could read a map before I could read a letter because we lived in the middle of maps. I got in trouble all the time at school because they'd call my name to answer a question. I hadn't been paying attention because I was drawing a cartoon. And I keep going to school hoping we'd have an art day. Because when we had art day then, I didn't get in trouble. I just wanted to play, and art was a way of playing without getting in trouble. When I got to college, I thought, well, I'm an artist, but I'm not a very good artist, so I'm here to get better. So I started my second year in Sacramento. Then I started learning about art. It was one of the most exciting times to be in California because that's when all kinds of things were being invented in terms of American art. I started doing landscapes made out of triangles because triangles made mountains. My frame of mind when I'd see a horizontal line, that was a horizon line. It was part of a landscape. The originality was number one thing you had to strive for because I'm an original creature. But I failed because here I was doing things influenced by what I'd seen in magazines. We talk about an aha moment. It was like you have to start over and be real. I took a trip up to the San Juan Mountains on a break from teaching and sat outside and painted the mountains in a little watercolor. And I thought, well, it's not great, but it's original. I decided to make a subject about the things that I liked the best. I liked fishing, backpacking, and mountain climbing, rock climbing. I got a call, would you like to come teach at Phoenix College? We have an opening at Phoenix College and your name has come up as a good person, would you want a job? I said, yes, I'd love to come teach there. I stayed at Phoenix College for 14 years. I took my students to the Phoenix Art Museum, occasionally took them out to ASU when they had shows that I thought they should see. I fed my students all the art they could stand. And I think being an art teacher, you're the person who facilitates that process of learning. And the one thing art teachers should not do is be critical. Here's somebody who doesn't quite know what they're doing, but they're trying to do an art thing and they make it and they hold it out and you go, bam, bam, that's not good enough. Bam, bam, don't do that, bam, bam. Artists are often very shy. Sometimes they're strutting around, but they're very shy inside because they're opening up themselves to you. It's not a contest. You know, it's about personal growth. So that's art education from my point of view. I was climbing on Camelback Mountain and I slipped and I free fell about 10 feet, hit the rock and broke my knee. I was bedridden and I decided to work on my sketchbook, dramatic architecture of the mountains and the cliffs and things. And I thought, why don't I do geology paintings? Nobody's doing that. And where would you go? The Grand Canyon. It was right there all this time. So that's how it evolved. So I started taking students. The idea was to get these students to look at nature. How can you be an artist and not go there? When it was announced a new airport building was going in that was going to like triple the size of Sky Harbor, I was told that they needed to have some pieces of art to decorate the building. And then I was told that I'd been selected as one of the artists. Would I please submit a plan? I went up to the canyon, up to the north rim, and spent a couple of nights, and I photographed all of this with a 35mm camera. But I don't want to be just another artist who painted the Grand Canyon. I want to do something more important. So I chose to do a big painting and make it as real but as contemporary as possible at the same time, because I didn't want to be a traditional painting because it's boring. I painted it at Phoenix College. Summer classes weren't being held in one of the classrooms, so I pushed all the furniture back. Now the canvas was 6 feet tall and 30 feet wide. The room was 32 feet wide. I think I did it in 3 sections and then stuck them together into one big canvas. The actual painting took me a month, the month of July. A lot of people said, well, how do you paint so big? I said, but it's easy, you just think big. And it's just another picture. By the time I finished, I had figured out the title for it. I call it the ultimate landscape. If I have one rule about art, is don't be boring. Everything else in life is boring, so don't be boring with an art. Painting should offer a person a new experience for their eyes and their mind. Have them think about something they've never seen before. Andy Warhol did that. He painted soup cans. We'd all seen soup cans, but we'd never seen it as a canvas. Say, oh, look what that is. It makes your brain think differently. Boredom is the biggest evil in our life. Repetition and boredom. Art's function is to try to offset that deadening influence in our life. Music, that's what it does. That's what theater does. That's why we don't lock all the artists up, because they're the ones that make life interesting.